up, fish tank people? Dustin's Fish Tanks, bringing it to you from my kitchen. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. In today's video, I want to show you around the pond. I want to show you some of the great plant growth action we've got going on. I want to show you some of the plants that somehow I am killing. I also want to show you a number of different aquarium plant species that I'm growing in the pond that I think you will enjoy. And I also am going to talk about why koi are so expensive. I've got some good examples of some high-grade koi and some not so great high-grade koi that I have out in my pond, and I've had them long enough you'll be able to see the difference. But first, we're starting in my kitchen for a reason. I want you guys to really get the full effect of my pond, and in fact, during part of this video, I might actually shut my traps. You guys can hear actually just how kind of zen it is. So with my man Andrew behind me, I want to roll out and just kind of show you all how this works. And just kind of how I roll out of the house as just a focal point of my place. So this is the view down to the pond. I absolutely love it. The catalyst behind this video was simple. Last night I was sitting here, wife and kids go to bed early. Daddy doesn't sleep. You can sleep when you're dead. Or in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, sleep faster. So I was sitting right here working on my stuff, and I was thinking to myself, like, I could literally just straight up sleep out here. So I want you to kind of take it in from where I sit. There's not one but 2 cups of coffee out here, if that's any indication how much time I spend out here. But this is where I post up. This pond is super zen to me, and a lot of things are going right, a lot of things are not going right. So I want to talk about those as we walk out here. But I got to tell you, as you roll this way, the more plants I have around, the better. This is a ficus, and you're actually going to see a lot of really great plants in some videos I got coming up from our friends at Mickler's. But it's a variegated, it's not a pothos, somebody commented on it, but this is a really fun plant, likes a lot of water. And then these are your standard peace lilies that just grow like crazy. But as before we roll out here, I do want to get a shot of this. This is the plot plan. This is a greenhouse design that I've obviously been working on from our friends at Rao Brothers. Note the atrium style roof, so it opens to the sky. And then you can see the sketch they've got for me on my quote. I haven't committed to them yet, but this will be a 36 foot wide greenhouse right here, phase 1 in the plot plan. So a lot of scheming, a lot of planning, but still also chill. Real quick. Oh, by the way, my wife is so sick of seeing engineered prints laying around she could scream. But I'll be out of here eventually. So here's what's going on with coffee in hand. I've got more of these, what are they called? Peace lilies. This is some sort of a Dracena. I'm not exactly sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Those are real fun. They can be handled almost full water up out the top. And I want to give this this plant some love too. This is a ficus with some thinner leaves. And then Andrew, our friend, is still sitting here chilling. We've got this bad boy right here, this praying mantis. So very fun. Now I'm gonna get into some of the plants first, but I'll be honest, this is not my strength. This is not my specialty with the above water plants. I stay in my lane with the aquarium plants. So if anybody has any knowledge, please let me know. But let's start with the good and then we'll work into the bad. This is I thought it was a type of hibiscus. People are telling me it's a mallow. This plant has just gone absolutely off the chain. Let me give you some perspective. Like, there's my fist next to one of these blooms, and it just keeps blooming. Andrew, make sure you get a shot of down low there. You can see that it's growing down into the water. It was planted very small and little, 2 years ago when the pond came in, and it didn't do hardly anything and didn't bloom until way late. It's got tons of blooms left. I want to point out some bad news though. Look at how the leaves are being eaten down there. Not too fun, not too sexy. So this plant is actually blowing up and has gone in rapid speed faster. I cleaned out some weeds. I still got some more work to do, but I didn't water them good enough. So this is some sort of a, I don't know, some sort of a tall grass that I need to get watered better. I actually have some duckweed down in the pond, which is a new surprise to me. It doesn't grow in the bottom part of the pond, however, because the fish eat it. And we're gonna talk about the fish in a minute here. But I'm going to make Andrew follow me around acrobatically over here and just kind of focus down this way, if you will. We have a problem going on here though. This is my red stem Thalia, and I absolutely love this plant, but a big giant bunch of beetles have started eating it, and I don't know how to kill them. Luckily this plant puts off like a new leaf basically every day, but if you look over here, you can see this. So if anybody has any advice on how to get rid of these guys, these predators suck. I mean, those are terrible, and they're tearing up my plant. The good news is I can just simply go and trim this back and it'll be no big deal. The plant will come up. I also want to point out this down here. This is a horsetail rush that's just been growing absolutely bonkers. So I'm loving that. This is the red stem tally. I actually broke it into 3. Now this plant will not survive the winter, so it does come into the greenhouse, but it actually separated into 3 plants. So I'm really, really, really loving it, have loved it. And look at it, it's actually growing out over here out of the pond. So as we roll over there, so we've got the good hibiscus. Let me show you the bad hibiscus right here. Now, this is of no fault of any viewer. I take people's advice and I listen to what they say. And somebody said, put the hibiscus in the pond. Now, we've had unseasonably high temperatures here. It's always hot, it's Kentucky in the summer. But this right here, this hibiscus, took a horrible beating, and I'm not sure why. And you can click the links around here or look at the clips here before. This plant was killing it. I mean, just like on fire, awesome. And it started to lose some of its leaves. It lost a bunch of the bulbs. I don't know if it's a nutrient deficiency down here or what it is. This was like submerged down to probably about there. And then, yeah, it was blooming like crazy. It's still got a couple of new growths, but if anybody knows anything about hibiscus, let me know. So that's the good. Here's the bad. Let me show you a couple more plants and then we'll talk about some of the koi and some of the live aquarium plants I got growing in the pond and the differences in them. All right, now I want to show you a couple of really sweet pond plants, some aquarium plants that I'm growing in the pond, some conversion of that. And yes, of course, we're going to show you some of the koi. I just threw a little bit of food in there. We'll keep them active for a minute. All right, so this is a spider lily right here. This is an absolutely awesome plant. Please note how the fish come near daddy. They are not afraid of daddy being in the pond because they're my boys. But this is a spider lily. It's actually gotten through its better days, but you can see if you're following me on Instagram, Dustin's Fish Tanks, at Dustin's Fish Tanks on Instagram, you can see the evolution of this. At one point I had 6 flowers out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's cycled through. It's a spider lily. I do not know its scientific name and I apologize for that. While Andrew is here, I want to show something. This down here, look at this growth coming out of this plant right here. We've got this sword. This is underwater converted growth that's going on. And that's not really a great example. So I feel like I can give you guys some other ones because this is kind of, we had a little overflow. We had some plants that basically came in on an import that were just didn't hold up well. So we threw them in the pond and the results have been absolutely amazing. I want to show this right here. If you can get down close here, we can get this sword right here. Look at this sword. You can see the underwater growth happening right here. And I'll pull this out. I believe this is a decumbent sword. Josh is my sword ninja. But notice, above water growth is fully going away. And then now we have all this underwater growth. So all this could actually be cut. I'm leaving it because I think it's still doing the plant good. But this is a fully converted, actually shorter growing sword. So it's kind of tight. Good root structure on there too. So this is kind of what we've been doing with the pond. And then one of the things that I want to show, and this is interesting, this is a part there we battle with aquariums, but this is what this plant would do in nature. This is a Bacopa yellow flame, and this plant looks dirty. That is actually just like reddish, a reddish hue that it's got. It's got a little stuff on it, but this plant is in here. It's actually a couple of them. But this plant is in here, but look at the tips on this. If you look closely at the tips on this, this plant started to come up out of the water. And that's no bueno in your aquarium because the plant acts completely different. So we actually put this deeper down into the pond. But the Bacopa yellow flame was starting to come up out of the water. You can see another example of it here. This one we just had to sink again because it kind of grew up out the top. But they call it yellow flame because it's got the pinkish red flame on it like that. So really enjoying watching these plants do what they would do in nature. Note the good roots on that or whatever. So that's the Bacopa yellow flame. I also want to point out the Ustrella stellata we have down in here. We're lucky to be shooting on an overcast day. I'm gonna be showing this right here. This is one that actually we won't be selling because it's too beat up on the bottom there. So this is not for sale. But these have the really awesome like thinner leaves, underwater growth coming. So this will fill back in and then be able to be sold. But right now it's just kind of chilling, growing out in the pond. But enough about the plants, folks. Let's talk about the koi fish. Now, I've done other videos about the quality of koi and how you can see the difference in them. I'm gonna grab my food. People ask me what I'm feeding. I feed whatever my friend Art at Western Carolina Waterscapes tells me to feed when it comes to koi. He tells me to feed Nijikawa, I'm feeding Nijikawa. He tells me to feed him dog food, I'd feed him dog food. Whatever Art tells me to do, that's what I do. So with that said, Art is the guy that I get high grade koi from. He gets them from, I believe, the Sakai fish farm in Japan. Japanese make great cars, Japanese make great koi. So I want to show some of the differences in the quality of the koi that I have now that I've had them for a couple of years. So I'm gonna throw some food in here. I slam the food in, they come up quick. Come on, boys. Let's go. And the big, oh, there's the Harawake. All right, so the Harawake was the first to go. The white one with the metallic sheen on it is developing a really nice head. I got that from Koi Acres Farm 2 years ago, and it's slowly losing that orange in its face, which is fine because it'll have an all white head with the orange metallic body. So that's a really sweet, high grade koi in my humble opinion. Not a champion or whatever, but it's an above average grade koi. Look at the all white one. That used to be a tancho. So that used to have a white dot on its head. That white, or excuse me, a red dot on its head. That red dot has disappeared. Now it's just a plain white fish. So you never know what you're gonna get when they're fingerlings, so be it. See that bright orange one right there with all orange? That is a 15-cent goldfish. Still gangster, still rocking in this pond. I wanna show some other fish though. Look at the, all right, so we got our new, that's our new one that we added right there with the darker orange with the almost black dots in it or whatever. That is a Goromo. And that's what I consider a high-grade fish. I got that from Art. And then there's another Goromo in here, which is the lightest orange-colored one over there with the purple coming off the top. It just kind of broke water. It's got the white, I'm trying to get it over here. It's got the whiter dots. It's the lighter color orange with the purple in the middle of its head. That's also a Goromo, but that's from Cullaback Koi. So I'm curious to see the difference between these two fish as they go along. You can also see the jungle val in there. And then finally, the biggest difference in the quality of koi can be seen with the Kohaku. They say that the koi hobby begins and ends with the Kohaku. The Kohaku is the big orange one right here with the diagonal face. That guy right there. And then there's this other guy right here with the red circle and the little pinkish red dot on his nose. That fish I bought as a fingerling. It's now the second biggest fish in my pond. His cousin over there is the other one, looks just like him. And then you've got this darker red one that's, I believe, a China grade koi. That one out there with the little Rudolph nose on him right there. That fish hasn't grown hardly at all compared to the other Kohaku that are from Japan. So there's a big difference in the quality of koi. Coincidentally, this guy right here with the four orange dots on him, he is actually a $7 koi from BDR Ponds here in Lexington, and he's turned out real nice. I handpicked him out of about 600 plants. Or excuse me, I handpicked him out of about 600 tiny little fingerlings a couple years ago. And then there's one of the babies, if you can catch that. So that's an update on the pond. Do me a favor, drop me a comment on your favorite species of koi. If you've noticed any difference in your koi with the quality of them, let me know what to do about these beetles and what to do about this hibiscus. Hit the like button, subscribe button, share button, whatever button you feel like pushing. Love your feedback on this pond, and tank on. Later.